This is Barry from Knitting for Love, and today's video is going to be another cast-on video method, and basically I'm going to show you two, which as you can see the edge on this one is a little puffy, wavy, zigzag. This is a knit cast-on. And I will go into that one, and it is kind of stretchy. It will stretch. Very nice edge. And the second one is the Provisional Cast-on, and usually you use this when you want to do a different edge or different bottom or toe-up sock. I find some people used to knit the body of the sweater with the Provisional Cast-on at the bottom of the sweater so they can pick up and do a separate edging instead of doing that particular edge and finish work first and then continuing on to the rest of the sweater. Some people also do the Provisional Cast-on method in order to help them sew projects together, and this is very useful for that too. It's like armholes you would put in as you work a provisional line, and this line can be ripped out very easily and without disturbing the work. But I'm going to show you how to do the knit cast-on first, and I have my knitting needles here and my yarn. And what you're going to do is this cast-on method, like the single cast-on, doesn't require a very long tail. So basically I'm going to create my slip knot and insert my knitting needle and find which one tightens up my loop. And then I'm going to, and as you can tell, that stitch is pretty loose. And I'm holding my needle in my left hand and my current needle in my right hand. And what you're going to do is you're going to insert the needle as if to knit. Now that stitch is a little too tight for me to get in there. And there. And we're going to wrap and knit that stitch. And then we're going to bring it up and put and slip it on. And I'm slipping it on from this side, not just putting it on, because if you just put it on, the stitches will be twisted and it might not give the desired effect. So we go in from behind in the front and just slide it on, and now you have two stitches. And what I like to do with this method is I like to insert my stitch here, my needle, in between both. It's in between, it's not in a stitch. And I will knit another one and bring it up. Now as you could tell, I'm making a very big loop here, and that's on purpose so I can get that stitch on there, and then I'm going to tighten it up. But I'm going to sit my needle in first before pulling completely. That way all these stitches are very nice and at the right tension. And then I'm going to knit another one, and I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to pull this tight and then do to see if it's the right tension. Now you can make as many of these stitches as you want. Again, the very first stitch, the slip knot stitch, counts as a stitch as always. And I have like 5 stitches on here, so I'll do one more so you can see this. And I'm pulling it through and slipping it on. Now, if you were doing a rib stitch, and this can be done in rib, this is knit. The rib stitch, you would not go in like you were knitting. You would actually go in like you were purling and wrap that stitch and pull it through that side. And then you would take it and you would slip it on. And this will create a different type of stitch. As you can tell, and I'm going to do a knit right next to it so you can see the difference between a knit and a purl cast on. Let me do another purl. So we have two to look at. Okay. So, in order for you to look at this, you can tell now that the purl stitches are kind of sitting towards this angle. You can see how the knit stitches are all upwards, where the purl stitch is facing downwards. And then the next stitch is up again. So you can see how it's inwards and outwards, inwards and outwards. So you know what stitch is a knit stitch and what stitch is a purl stitch. Just from looking at it, you can see the difference of the stitches. And you can see the two knit stitches on either side of the purl stitch, which is the way it's supposed to look. Now, for a provisional cast on, we're going to take an opposite color. I have another color here. And you would usually use a crochet hook for this. Some people don't own crochet hooks. So basically, I'm going to show you how to make a chain without using a crochet hook. So I'm going to do my slip knot as usual, because that's the basis of both knit and crochet. Now with this method, I have this hole here, and this is my working yarn, and you use your working yarn and not your tail for this method. But I'm going to take that and I'm going to insert the yarn through there, making a slight hole before tightening up that circle. And so I'm tightening it up, as you can tell, there. That's how big I want that, because I need to be able to stick my needles in them. And so basically I'm going to take this one, and I'm holding the other one so the other one doesn't shrink. And I'm pulling this one. And as you can tell, it's kind of tricky to see where your yarn is. I've twisted mine there. So you can see that I'm making another loop about the same size as the first one. And then I'm going to grab that just to make sure that it doesn't get smaller than what I need. So I'm just going to hold this other yarn just to make it easier, and see that one there, I've made another one. Let's do this again. I'm going to take that yarn and I'm going to pull this until I've got my desired size. And I'm going to do it again. It's basically, I'm holding the other side of this yarn to make it easier. And I'm just going to pull that, and as you can tell, I've made several of them now, and I just keep holding the next one in line so I can make my chain as big as I need it to be. And I'm going to do a couple more, and I'm always holding the chain that I made prior to this one. And as you can tell, there's my chain. It's not as pretty as a crochet chain would be, but nevertheless, you can do this by hand. And I always do a few extra if the cast on requires me to use 5 or 10 cast ons. I will do 15 just to leave room on either side of my work. And I've done a few. So now to show you how to pick this up, we're going to flip it over. And as you can tell, there's a whole bunch of little ridges, these little bumps right here. They are where we're going to go into. But I'm not going to go into the first one because the first one's a little messy. I'm going to go into the third one just to leave myself some room. Let's take my yarn over here, pull that out, and I'm going to loop it on, and I'm going to pull it through as to knit. And this is how you would do the provisional cast on, is you would find the next little bump on the back of the work, and you're going to knit that stitch. And I suggest using the same weight yarn. So if you're working with worsted weight yarn, use a worsted weight to make your chain. And as you can tell, there's the next one right here. And I'm going to pull that through and pull it up because I like my first row to be easy to work with. And then here's the next one. And I'm going to knit that one in. And try not to split the stitches on your chain, because then you will not be able to just relieve this of its work. You're going to go into the next one, and as you can tell, it gets easier to see which ones you need to go into while doing a provisional cast on. There's the next one, and usually you can tell because you'll see if you hold your work this way, there's the loop right here, the little bump right there, and I'm going to go into that, and I'm going to cast on. And as I said before, I always leave a few extra on either side. So there's the next one, and then I'm done. And that's how you would do a provisional cast on. Picking up from this cast on will go into another video. Happy knitting. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.